Dave Ryan, episode 1773, this weekly show. This is my day on Friday, but if you want to catch Dave and I Monday through Thursday, that's not the Ryan's Record, at 7 p.m. Eastern, you can do that on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. Yeah, you better get your laughs in, God.
I got to sneeze, man. Bad. I'm gonna be watching as a fan.
All right, couple things I'm just gonna slam over here.
Go slam.
First things first. We didn't talk about the Biden State of the Union address this week, and it's
That's right.
and it's not because, as the intellectuals that David and I are, it is simply not because we don't care about the State of the Union. It's just the fact that I care so much about the state of my union that when I listen to people lie about it, I get physically upset. And you could say a lot of things about this. I've been at this a little while now with the political sphere. And I always thought it was in passion and endearment, and it was like a positive thing to be like literally upset that I feel my country and my countrymen are being taken advantage of, or whatever it was, right? And I was always told to simmer down.
Simmer down, right?
Just it's not that important, I was told that for a long time. And I'll tell you, David, between doing the show, between giving enough time, doing more research, whatever, I'm done. I'm done being nice. I called a couple of my coworkers retards if they don't think that they need to buy bullets and bread. The United States shot down 4 unidentified. How's anything unidentified when we have fucking satellites? 4 unidentified.
For the record, NORAD said they can't rule out that they're not aliens, right?
The Congress-funded thing said they weren't. I am so tired of hearing about fucking aliens from people. Why? It's not real. Just give it up. Give it up. It's not real. They've sold you on the alien thing so well. You're like, but they haven't caught one. Catch what? They're not real. There's nothing to catch. Sorry, I just seem crazy. All right. What was I talking about? The 4 unidentified. They shut down 4 of those things in 8 days in North America. Now, mind you, that's Canada, America, Latin America, right? And then one extra one apparently somewhere, Alaska.
That's part of the United States.
North America, though, David.
Yes, but also America.
The point is if you look, I'm not telling you to mobilize your whole life. Look, I'm not doing a lap around my apartment, but it's not like I'm building a bunker here. Okay, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. I'm just telling you guys, like, it's like you got to check the temperature of the room here. Like, I looked at everybody I work with, like, how many history books have you read? Not that I claim to read a lot. How much you actually know? Do you think it's like a good thing that they're shooting balloons down from foreign countries? And the solution is, we do it to them. When Russia walked into Ukraine, you sent $1 trillion. They're in Montana. Where did that thing drive? What? They could kill people. They could have dropped a bomb on our country. Remember Pearl Harbor, David? Because I wasn't here, but I remember 9/11. You gutted all my civil liberties for 9/11. You literally spied on me, and now you have the very grid that censors information at Twitter. Through the spy grid. 4 unidentified things. I got to hear about fucking aliens. That's more logical than we're at World War III?
Well,
after a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic, you hear about inflation and recessions. There's proof that they altered elections, bare minimum, with subjugating certain information on certain mainstream media sources, with the Hunter Biden laptop story, for example. No, you don't need bread. The one dude said the bread will go moldy. I looked at him, I said, you're going to be eating moldy bread then. You're going to let your kids starve?
This is a Buffalo person?
This is a guy I work with. Now, granted,
he's blue cheese, right? I mean,
little younger than me. I get it. We've lived a pet like you don't like it, dude. But dude, I've spent too much time sitting by and having conversations and thinking everything. Dude, I saw a spy balloon. It's done. We're done here. I'm done being nice to you people. I really am. You are insulting my intelligence as a slightly informed, average blue-collar guy at my job when you tell me I got nothing to worry about and bread will go moldy. I'll be eating moldy bread before I fucking starve. And
I told someone at work about Operation Northwoods. He was very unaware that it was a thing. For people who don't know, Operation Northwoods, if I'm not mistaken, it was Operation Northwoods.
It was when they were going to hijack a freaking airliner and blow it out of the sky.
Yeah, JFK's like, no, you can't. We're not doing this.
Well, what did they do to JFK, David?
Well, he was unrelatedly to that. He was shot by one person.
Shot in the chest. Magic bullet bounced 4 times. Trust the science.
Like, holy shit, that's real? I was like, yeah, that was real. And then I brought him on Operation Paperclip, and I was like, there's hundreds of these things, though.
Yeah, like once
Paperclip's
again,
when they brought all the Nazis over, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know him too well, but
Paperclip's the Nazi.
Yeah, I'm not an intellectual.
Now, but see, you could get into so many hairs. Look, I'm going to link this back to the State of the Union address. Okay, they shot down 4 balloons over North America. What would your grandfathers be doing right now? You think we'd be sitting by, clapping our hands for Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl? You know the only reason you have a Super Bowl is because we have freedom? I know we know this. I'm not expecting all of us to go out and radically change the world either. But I really have a hard time. I've been fired. Dave, you know this. I've been fired for talking to people about this because I can't just sit by, man.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you don't go listen, not that I know everything, but if you don't go buy bread and bullets, you're going to try to come get my bread that I've been buying. What do you think the bullets are for?
Hunting, Ryan.
Yeah, it says that in the Second Amendment somewhere, right, David? Shall not be infringed when it comes to firearms when hunting. Biggest joke ever. A girl I also work with was like, I'm not even going to bother getting my pistol permit because of all the hassle. It's like,
luckily for her, she's in New York and she won't get it anyway.
They can't deny you. Civil right, you cannot be denied.
Well, they
and if you don't file, you can't fight, and then you can't win. You've already let them win if you're not willing to fight.
I'm just saying it doesn't mean they won't deny you.
Yeah, and I've also heard a thing if they deny you the first time and you try to apply again and you did not fight, they're just going to deny you a second time. I know we're long-winded here. I started listening to the State of the Union, and I got through the first 15 minutes before my skin crawled so bad. And we were also filming the podcast, so that helped. But I'm not going to break it down all the way. I just don't know. Joe Biden referenced something very in particular. He referenced middle America, and the middle working class has been, forget his terminology that somebody else wrote for him, but it was along the lines about the jobs have left, manufacturing's went overseas, and this has been a problem for quite a few administrations. And he's just saying all this casually, like he hasn't been in power for 50 years and helped write these bills that literally shipped our jobs overseas. And then I'm supposed to think that you're the guy to fix them. And all he did was sit there and talk about how this governing body, look at all we got done. We had 20, he referenced the number of pages passed. Well, all these bills we've passed. Just because you pass a bill doesn't mean you're doing your job.
No, in fact, you can do the opposite of your job.
This would be like the equivalent if an electrician got paid by how much wire he used, and he just used like 700 extra feet every freaking outlet he had.
I've seen some wire jobs where it looks like they were paid by the foot.
You know, this is like, what are we doing? And you guys get up there and just clap. And I know why. We know it's corrupt, but this is the act of Rome, right? This is the. So what we were inherited this shit. I showed up here. You know, I woke up like this. It's just very interesting. We literally have spy balloons, and we think the State of the Union is strong. It's like the opposite of strength. Name what? And then they reference to Trump. Well, it happened under the Trump administration. It's weird I didn't hear about it under the Trump administration, did I? I wonder why. There was a chemical spill in Ohio today or yesterday. Well, when recording this, but sorry, there was a chemical spill. Now I just heard about this today filming, but a few hours ago. Now, this story may develop into something different, but I've heard that animals are dying and the smell is burning people's eyes. It's probably in the drinking water. There's a bunch of fish dying. Chemicals are no joke. This is actually something I know very well. I was an automotive painter for nearly 10 years of my life. I spent in the body business. I was around chemicals and hazardous waste and every fucking sticker that you could imagine, flammable, toxic, everything except nuclear and
we had a whole a book about the chemicals that were in the building and what to do if swallowed and in your eyes, and we had to know how to treat them. And
respiration, sanding with microscopic particles, painting with water-based molecules, like science. It was chemistry with applied science. I literally can tell you that the masks you wear for COVID don't work because I have actually been fitted for respiration. It's not a joke, right? My point in saying
it's such a tight amount. There's so little room for error that they tell you can't have facial hair.
Not stubble. Like a mustache might be too much if it's too long. Like it has to sit. The point is, it's no fucking joke. And if you're not hearing about it on mainstream news articles, I'm just cobbling things together with the other stories this week. Once again, spy balloons. This was in Ohio, which is also in the Great Lake region. Why is the Great Lakes important, David? It's the largest fresh body of water.
I may have told this story, but Lake Erie used to be a toxic waste dump, and it's one half of the reason why I won't eat fish from Lake Erie. The other half is I caught a fish on Lake Erie one time and it had 3 eyes. It's a real story. I threw it back.
Yeah, the point I was making with the Great Lakes thing is that this is like a hotbed for not just population, everything else, but it connects the St. Lawrence Seaway to the Mississippi River. I mean, it's everything. The Great Niagara Falls, Lake Superior. It's literally it's super important to this country. And this is a hot spot for attack. It will be. I'm not saying they're going to bomb America. I don't necessarily believe this. But if they were, they would hit this area. Don't be mistaken.
There was reports about the falls before, terrorists attacking the falls, because if I'm not mistaken, Niagara Falls power is like 2/3 of the Northeast or some shit.
Yeah, and not to mention if you I've went down the rabbit hole here about nuclear warfare, and if anything's dropped in the northern hemisphere, the jet stream will cycle it through the whole. You got to get below the South American 33-degree parallel, like the Tropic of Cancer or Capricorn, whatever one, because the swirling of the jet stream will just keep cycling atomic ash and atomic fallout in the weather for however long. So the point, once again.
Are you talking about multiple nukes dropped or just one?
Yeah, depending on the size of the warhead. I mean, that would be. But the point is, Toronto is only 3 hours from Buffalo, and they have, there's 10 million people that live around Toronto and in Toronto. I mean, it's people think about it, man. 2/3 of Canada's population live in the bottom third of the country. So it's everything that borders America. They can get 2 countries at once and the militaries of other countries aren't dumb. They steal all our fucking tactics and use them against us. So whatever. Long-winded story to say, I don't believe in the State of the Union, and I'm not just going to let the President of the United States lie to me about job creation and hear about this sad story about the middle class like he gives a fuck, Mr. Average Joe Biden.
Record job creation, right?
Part-time
12 million jobs they've added.
I would love to know how many are full-time with benefits. I would love to know the average wage of all those jobs that I wonder why we've never heard that.
If he was subjected to a Facebook context fact check, they would point out that even though the economy has added 12 million jobs under Biden, it has less jobs than when Trump was in office at his peak. So less jobs would be one way to put that. So
now, granted, when Trump had his State of the Unions, I came out here and I fucking defended that guy and the points he made. This because I actually thought he was making progress in America. But when you listen to these speeches, if you were to put them next to each other and remove their voices, they'd probably be very similar speeches because it's all about uplifting America and the middle class,
manufacturing jobs and all that shit. And that's by design. I mean, that's what you're going to aim for if you're doing one of these.
Obviously, but it's still crazy to hear the same talking points from the 80s, which we're not living in the fucking 80s. So why are we trying to bring manufacturing back? I don't know the solution, Mr. Intellectuals out there. The point is I know they're lying to me. I know the job creation. I know whatever they're talking about. The NAFTA GATT was signed by Joe Biden, and some of them other treaties that he had with with Canada and Mexico and everything. Some of those were under Obama, and the same people that have crafted the problems we have are up there clapping about how they can sign bills and work together. How come you couldn't work together in the last organization, or the last administration? Oh, because there was an agenda. Oh, there was this. Oh, who knows? But you're bragging about it now. So and I'll never forget it. My economics teacher, Mr. Jablonski, in 12th grade, he had the front page of the paper when it was the Great Recession. It was official. Obama's president, and everything's fucking the Great Recession. That's what we always hear about now in the modern era. As millennials in particular, we actually lived through that time in human history. So this isn't our first rodeo. We were just younger. But I just remember him saying, cut the politics and fix the country. And his point was he knew. And during the Obama administration, they planted, what was it, like the Gang of Eight or whatever. And they had them go through all the economies and all that. So I know we're in the weeds. This is my record after all. The point is, I'm not going to let them lie to me. When there's foreign aircraft flying over my country, I see it on the news. I see you shoot them down. I see the other side. I see the job. Like, you're not pulling the smoke over my eyes. The State of the Union is not strong. Foreign countries know it, and the average American knows it. So Joe Biden just straight lied through his teeth for however long.
Well, the problem for Biden, and the thing that he's running into, is the fact that the average American, the middle-class American, the one he claims he's fighting for, are the people who are feeling it the most.
Yeah, and then they say blame the rich and tax the rich. And then if you know anything, I follow entrepreneurs on the internet, not fucking asses on TikTok people. Get on Patrick Bet-David, get on these people and fucking learn something. All these people that you're taxing just make a business to get the money back. They don't pay taxes. They own businesses. Jeff Bezos' salary is like $60,000 a year from Amazon. He's not getting paid trillions of dollars. Like, you, and this is the problem. You guys, all these people go all and vote. They vote these people that clap the hands for the work that they do. Not everybody should vote, maybe. I don't know what the solution is. My point in complaining about it is I know the State of the Union isn't strong. So we are here to document it. Because I think we're in the fall of Rome in some ways. And I'm not okay with this happening. And I'm really not okay with this happening because I went down a little rabbit hole, David, about Ukraine. My last name, Kicak, is, at least from what I told, is Ukrainian in origin. My family came here. My great-grandmother came here in 1908, 1910, somewhere in there. And at the time, the country that she left was called Austria-Hungary. And that was an empire that ended after the First World War. My family, at least this era of my family, this sect, left just before the First World War broke out. They came here. I had uncles that fought in the World Wars. My grandfather was also in World Wars. And long story longer. So I started actually looking up because I've been told various things about my name. First of all, I don't think my family even knows how to say it right? Like whether it's, we have Kicak, right? Like maybe we Americanized it, right? Like, and then Buffalonian accent with the hard A, Kicak, right? Like
it's probably like Kicak.
Right, Kicik. When you type it in Siri, it says Kicak, So I've been told that it's been changed. The lettering changed. The way my dad's my dad was called a different pronunciation as a kid than I was, right? So there might be cultural things. There could be the time period, right? So I just started going down YouTube rabbit holes. I was like, history of Austria-Hungary. Now I knew that this country wasn't around long, so the YouTube, it wasn't gonna be this crazy thing. It didn't get gnarly for me until I typed in the Ukrainian history. Now, I got into it earlier this week with Ben Shapiro on my very own program because he's a piece of shit and lies about everything. But he says, and other people have said that Ukraine is in Eastern Europe. And then I've come on this program and said, how do you figure that out? It's cultural, it's religious, it's war, it's everything, right? It's socio-political, it's geography.
Yeah, well, we talked about that when the Russia and Ukraine thing, and everyone just started claiming Ukraine was in Europe, and I was like, how? Since when.
Yeah, and it gets interesting because they're not really wrong, right? Because in theory, it's just a border. When that area of the world was forming, there was obviously no countries. It was like Mongols came through there, and then there was Prussia. Like it's all these things. And the point, Ukraine is flat. It's a flat country relative. Modern Ukraine. And they basically said it was like the step up into Asia, and then like from both ways. It was like the middle of that part of the world. Everything flowed through there. If you're going to Asia or going back through to Europe and the Middle East and the eastern part of Africa, right, can kind of, I know them the other way, but it kind of comes up by like the Baltic Sea. And it was very interesting. That area of the world, it was the first people to ever tame wild horses and use them for warfare and agriculture and other things. And so it was cool. I just kept going down this little rabbit hole, how it happened. And back to Ben Shapiro talking shit. What they link it to really is in the 9th century AD, I believe, one of the guys looked to its neighboring communities and adopted Eastern Orthodox Christianity. So that's why I think, like, to us, as far as like the old world is concerned, Europeans during the world wars and stuff, that's why I think they branch it back and say it's part of Europe, its essence is in Europe. There was heavy links between early Slavics and like Constantinople and Rome and Vikings and Mongols. It was so interesting. And I found out actually that area of the world, in that area in particular, is one of the most understudied genetic code on all of Earth.
That's just because they're white.
They're not, though. I could literally be everything, like Jewish, like not saying that but I'm just saying that part of the world literally had everybody, Greeks, Rome, literally everybody came there at some point over thousands and thousands of years. The amount of blood that was left there and families that intermingled, and like it's incredible.
There's debate in my family tree if I'm Jewish in any way.
Like ethnically Jew?
Yeah. Which I don't feel like I am because I don't run any media companies or anything, but I've
Well, it's just Veep anyways, David.
That's true. I don't own any banks that I know of, but if I do, I'll let you in on some.
So all this discovery, I ended up getting on how surnames were formed, right? And because naturally that's the thing. You have to figure out, once again, I kind of said like it could be pronounced wrong, all these things. So there's a couple YouTube videos out there. It gets very interesting. They could be like Smith, right? Your family was a blacksmith, or they go through it. And so some of them said sometimes it's just from like the village or town that your family came from and migrated from. They just used it as a last name because there was only a couple of you, right? So it was like, well, Ryan is from over there and this Ryan is from over there. So his name will be Hill. His name will be River because he lives by the river. He lives by the hill, right? So it was a way to just avoid confusion for early people. And I come to find out there's a Kisak village in Turkey. Same spelling and everything.
So you're Turkish.
Istanbul, right?
Yeah.
This one, it's literally the middle of the world, of the East. I guess so. But my family, when they came here, in the census that I've seen, not my great grandmothers, but I know that my grandma, when she came here, spoke Ukrainian. That was her language. She didn't speak any English. My dad tells me stories about her making potato vodka on the stove and just saying basically like cursing in Ukrainian. And a couple of my aunts and uncles and my father can actually say the saying that she used to say, but it's like, it sounds like all crazy, but I don't think any of them know the translation. But the point is, it's just very cool to go down this. Like, it took so, like, granted I was working and listening, so it wasn't like I was attentive, but it took like so much layers just to like even figure it out. Like, I would have never just thought like type in my name, right? Like it would pull me up, but I typed in like Turkey and then the name and it's there. And I went on Instagram and dude, it's just, there's nothing there. They have like a Shell gas station. They have a Shell gas station there. That's all I seen on Google Maps. It's just farmers. They're just farmers and fishermen. Like very simple people. And I felt so fortunate. Like, really. I looked up the exchange rate. $1 US is 14 Turkish dollars. My salary is like $800,000 a year there.
See, now we're talking.
I could probably go there and buy the whole town. If I, you know what I mean? Like a few $1 million, you could probably buy every house there.
Well, it's all relative.
Relative, exactly. It just put in perspective, David, that like my family literally came from nothing so that they could come here so that I could be a king and queen.
There probably wasn't even a Shell gas station when they were there.
Not 1900. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I kind of brought it up too, open-endedly, a little like how much you knew about your ancestry and where your family came from, but you kind of shared a little bit already.
My dad got real into it, and to be honest with you, he's probably got all the stuff around somewhere, but I don't know. Mostly German, Italian, tiny bit Polish, and like I said, the debate about whether or not I could potentially have ethnic Judaism.
Yeah, it's interesting when you don't know necessarily where you come from. I don't know about you, David, but all my grandparents I have one grandmother, and it's not from my name side. It's like from my grandfather's wife, right? My dad's mom. So it's like I have these breaks. I never got even like my mom's history. Not a lot of people know that. I've heard I have Native American in my mom's family, and it's like these stories have to have remnants of truth.
Born on the losing side of battles.
Hey, I had a relative. One of my distant relatives on my mom's side founded Virginia. She was a queen. Now, this is not like literal name. We're talking very far back. But it just shows like the 6 degrees of separation we seen earlier this week, falling birth rate. It's like why people matter. Like I've come on this program, told you guys that I'd probably be fighting in the fucking Russia-Ukraine war right now. Like I don't get upset because it's like, oh, I have plenty of my own shit going on in my own life that politics shouldn't even be on my radar. But for some reason, I've always been drawn to information and like the way these people spin stuff. And it's because my family gave me everything to come here. Like literally, they gave everything. I come from dirt farmers. And just my skills make me rich enough to probably buy the town. If that ain't a blessing, I don't know what is, man. And for somebody who doesn't know a lot of his family, for me, I felt like this little, I don't even know if it's all true, but there's no way that my last name and a village are the same thing, and I'm not from these people. And it's literally, my grandmother said she came here because the weather was most likely the same. It was the closest weather they could find. And this place, Kisak Village in Turkey, is almost the same latitude as Buffalo.
They just moved west.
They just moved west. So I'm fortunate. It's a blessing. It's cool. What also is cool that me and Dave can entertain you guys for here on Ryan's Record on Friday. Dave Ryan, December 17th, 73. Catch us every day, Monday through Friday for the weekly show, 7 p.m. Eastern. YouTube, Rumble, Facebook. I will be there. Dave will be there. The World Health Organization will be there. And yeah, as always, I appreciate you guys. If you made it through all the episodes, you're my true warriors. I appreciate you the most. David, I always appreciate you for your time. I know you know that, but I always like to say it. And yeah, I guess this week, State of the Union, and I'm grateful as hell, man. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
Peace, man. Have an awesome week.